Edie walked on, the bear maybe 50 feet ahead, through stands of white spruce, then out into clumps of quaking aspen, wading through deep snow, her heart thudding in her throat. It seemed as though they had been traveling a long time, when all of a sudden the bear stopped and swiveled about. He was a long distance away now, his body visible through the trees like a patch of mist in the dark. He watched her heading closer for a while, then raised his head and smelled the air, turned, and cantered away. Edie looked about. For the first time in her adult life, she realized that she was lost. Glancing back at her footprints, she could already see that the bear had led her round in circles, jumbling the prints into a series of long switchbacks. Now she found herself in a dank world full of shifting shadows and strange whispering sounds, like something from a childhood dream, with absolutely no sense of where to turn next. She felt her throat tighten and her palms begin to sweat. She took in a deep, calming breath and stood listening, absorbing the sounds of the forest and trying to take some meaning from them. Where Edie came from, up on Ellesmere Island, just shy of the North Pole, there weren't any trees, only raw, rocky tundra. On a clear day, you could see the Earth's curve. The unfamiliarity of the landscape was just one more thing about Alaska she hadn't really thought about when she'd agreed to step in to help Sammy after his one surviving son, Willa, broke his arm. Now the wind picked up and began snaking along the forest floor, bothering the snow into little fountains of flakes. The trunks of the spruces all around her creaked very softly, and a drift of accumulated powder snow swept from the branches and tumbled to earth. If she'd been in Alaska any longer than 2 days, she might already know where the prevailing winds blew from, but even of that she was ignorant. She looked up but could not see the sun through the canopy. No chance of knowing which direction she was going in. Far away, a few ravens chattered, a nearby twig snapped, and there was the rustle of something low to the ground. A fox, perhaps. It had been crazy irresponsible to come out here without so much as a rifle, the kind of thing she'd had a habit of doing when she'd been drinking, the kind of habit she hoped she had kicked. A thin rumble came to her, more a vibration than a sound. Then it deepened and grew louder until it resolved into the deep whine of an engine, and she felt a hollowing sense of relief. The vehicle drew closer, and before too long a snowmobile came into sight. She grinned and waved and waited, but when the vehicle carried on without even slowing, she ran into its path, shouting and waving her hands, bewildered. The driver opened his visor, and a pair of eyes, almost lost in a furze of salt and pepper facial hair, looked out. A female passenger in silver fox mitts sat impassively behind him. Under their down parkas, they both appeared to be wearing long, billowing tunics and matching trousers. The couple had obviously been doing the week's grocery shopping. There were bags hanging off the snowmobile's every surface. "Hey, didn't you see me waving?" She felt irritated. Did people have no manners down here? "I'm lost. I need to get back to the Hatcher Pass." The man shrugged. "You're on Old Believer Land," he said simply. She wanted to say that right now she didn't care if she was on Kiss My Ass Land, but held back. "I need directions to my vehicle." The man looked momentarily surprised, but then he flipped his head in the direction he and his companion had just come from. "If you can't make out your own tracks, then follow ours," he said. "Was that your snow machine down there on the track?" Snow machines. That's what they called them down here in the South, in Alaska. Where Edie was from, you saw a snowmobile with no one on it. You didn't just ride by. You stopped to make sure no one was in trouble. "You always this helpful?" The man sucked his teeth disapprovingly. "The concerns of the worldly are no concerns of ours," he said. Then, glancing back at the woman sitting behind him, he seemed to relent a little. We don't have
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.